Jono, thanks for joining me here at Lords. We're training ahead of the first game here at Lords tomorrow evening. All kicks off in the Blast Under Lights tomorrow. What's the mood in the squad like?
Yeah, it's okay. I think everyone's quite excited to get back to Lords, our home game, first one of the season. So boys are looking forward to playing here in front of hopefully a good crowd on a nice evening.
Obviously, we kick off with a double-header. Sunrise is playing before us. Should be a nice spectacle for the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear there's a decent crowd coming. Pre-match tickets sold look good. So yeah, it should be a good double-header.
Let's focus on the opening two clashes, Jono. Obviously, defeats in both, not the ideal start, I guess, would be safe to say. Tough one against Kent, where it looked to me like they bowled to a far better plan and got their plans executed with the ball perhaps better than we did.
Look, first game of the season. Obviously, we hadn't really got any practice before that first game. We've been doing drip feeding bits and pieces in during our 4-day stuff, but didn't really get a good, solid afternoon of practicing at MTs, unfortunately, with weather and everything else around. So we were a bit cold in that game. We tried to get the boys there a bit earlier than normal, get used to the surroundings and hit a few balls at Chelmsford before the game. It's not something we're comfortable doing. Quite often you get there too early and the boys have put all their efforts and everything in, a couple of hours before the start of the game. So, as I said to the boys, I'll take that one on the chin and take that defeat as on me. The actual game itself, I thought, we didn't hit our straps with the ball straight away. We know that Chelmsford is a ground that 220 is an average winning score, so anything under that is a total that you feel is gettable. So chasing 200 in that game we felt was a gettable target. It's very well documented what we're trying to do with our batting unit. We're going hard, which most teams are now. We started that process 2 years ago. And sometimes you're going to have innings where it doesn't come off and you're going to get bowled out. But what I quite liked about that game, we kept going and we kept pushing. There's no point knocking it around and getting to 150 and losing the game by 50, 60 runs. You've got to learn one person comes off and you've still got a chance of winning the game. So that's the bit I quite liked. And then obviously we go to the away game at Chelmsford. Good crowd, nice, good weather and stuff. And yeah, that was a good batting performance. Still felt we were 15 short of that 220 we were aiming for. And as it turned out, that's probably about right. If we got that extra 15, 20 runs, it could have been quite an interesting game. Yeah. Pepper obviously had a bit of a day out against us. We're very aware that our batting has strengthened over the last couple of years, and we've got to a point now where we feel we can get 200 regularly, which is something we've got to aim for. Our bowling unit is still a very young bowling group. 19-year-old playing, 22-year-old, so it's a very young group. Doesn't mean to say we can't compete, and it doesn't mean to say we can't get better, and that's something we spoke about this morning. Yes, we're a young group, but we've got to learn quicker, and we've got to adapt quicker to the situation of the game. So it's something we're talking a lot about, but it's something we're working on. We're quite excited that with this group of young fast bowlers, we feel we've got wickets in there. We feel we can put the opposition under pressure. We've just got to be more precise in what we're doing, and that will come hopefully with a bit more experience and a bit more understanding. But so far, not an ideal start. We feel we're in a position where we can compete in this South group, but there's still 12 games to go and a long way to go.
Absolutely. You mentioned the batting, and one batter coming off can make a huge difference. Someone we talked about at length last year who'd come on leaps and bounds in terms of his strike rates was Max Holden. Max obviously struck, I think it was 85 not out off 42 deliveries, going at a strike rate of about 210. Pepper comes in, hits 101 off 44 balls at about 240. You just can't really legislate for that. It's never an easy game as a bowler, but somebody comes off like that and you just got to suck it up.
Yeah, that's T20 to a degree, but with experience, with some of the overseas bowlers we're coming up against, their figures are always the best, or generally the best in the game. If you look around the country, the overseas bowlers are the ones, because they've got experience, they've been there before, they've seen it all before, and they work out ways that they can counter that certain situation. So it's the bit we lack, but it's the bit we have to keep working hard on and keep drumming the experience and the knowledge into those guys. Our bat, we feel like with our batting group, we've got that experience now, and we're performing quite regularly now as a batting group. Just with the bowling, we've got to keep pushing that through the competition.
Went into the second of those two games at Chelmsford against Essex without Lewis Deploy in the side, without Henry Brooks in the side. Two players that obviously were signed largely to play a large part in T20. My understanding of that situation is both picked up knocks in the Kent game, both felt okay, came through that, but obviously on the morning of the Essex game both pulled out. How are they shaping up ahead of the Thursday night game here against Glamorgan?
Yeah, the Kent game, Lewis took a brilliant diving catch and just jarred his wrist. Didn't think it was anything, and then obviously came in for the Essex game with a quite sore in his wrist. It's nothing too serious. We've just got to keep an eye on it. We don't want it to be niggling on, so we'll have a check on him again tomorrow. Brooksy also just in the sort of hip area, a little niggle in there. We thought it was best just to pull him out of that one, and hopefully he'll be fit again, hopefully tomorrow.
As a bowler yourself, John, who did wonderful things with the ball in his hand, I'm pretty sure you're looking back on your career thinking you're probably quite lucky to have missed a large part of the T20 stuff. It's no day out for the bowlers there. How's someone like Noah Cornwell adjusted to life in the first 11? Because it's a pretty brutal place to start your career.
I've got the T20 medal in the bedside drawer, so no, it's tough, mate. But the youngsters want to play this format. It's great fun, playing in front of thousands of people, the excitement of it all, the buzz of it all. He handles it particularly well. He loves the occasion, loves the big occasion, loves almost showing off a little bit. So I've got no problem with him throughout the whole tournament, really coming to the fore and coming to the party in it. And I think he's done really well so far. His figures might not suggest that, but he's carrying out some of the plans that we want him to do, and he's learning all the time. It's not an easy game for a bowler at the moment in T20 cricket. Every time you bowl a length ball, it goes out the park. You try and get a Yorker and they ramp it over their heads, and then you bowl a bumper and it's called a no ball or a wide most of the time. So it's not an easy game. That's coming from a former fast bowler, obviously. But as I said before, every game is more experience for these young lads. Doesn't mean to say we shouldn't be winning games, because I think this group now is ready to win games, and we need to really start putting that together over the rest of the tournament.
Last one on Thursday's opponents. We had an absolute thriller of a game against them last year up at Merchant Taylors, actually. I think they batted first and went at it hard, hit 230 odd, and I think at the halfway stage we were about 130 for naught before a flurry of wickets just slowed up the attack. But I guess 15,000 people, 20,000 people tomorrow in the crowd will be looking forward to a similar type of event. What do you make of Glamorgan? Obviously they've got some big threats in there, the likes of Colin Ingram, the likes of Chris Cook. They're a damn good side, and they'll provide a stiff test. Yeah,
I think the South Group, as we know, there aren't any weak sides in the South Group, so every game's going to be a tough test. We'll concentrate again on our process and how we're trying to play the game. We'll obviously do our homework on their batters and plans to them, but we're confident in moving forward with what we're trying to do. And as I say, coming back to Lords, somewhere where in front of 20,000 people is something everyone's really up for. So there'll be a stern test like every other game, but we're ready for it.
Good to hear. Jono, thanks for your time and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.